There's something profoundly liberating about discovering that happiness doesn't require universal approval. In fact, authentic joy often demands the exact opposite: the willingness to be misunderstood, criticized, or even rejected by others. This insight from the courage to be disliked reveals a truth that cuts through the noise of our people-pleasing culture. The courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked. When we really absorb this teaching, something shifts at the foundation of how we live. We begin to see that performing for approval is actually a barrier to the very connection and fulfillment we're seeking. The path to authentic happiness starts with this radical acceptance that being truly ourselves might not please everyone, and that's not only okay, it's necessary. Most of us have learned to live as prisoners of others' expectations without even realizing it. We check and double-check our words before speaking, carefully curate our actions to maintain harmony, and suppress our authentic responses to avoid conflict. This isn't genuine kindness, it's fear-based living that gradually strips away our freedom and sense of self. When we're constantly worried about maintaining relationships at any cost, we transform from individuals into actors, playing carefully rehearsed roles rather than expressing our true nature. The tragedy is that this very strategy often backfires. Relationships built on performance rather than authenticity lack the depth and genuine connection we're actually craving. People sense when we're not being real, and the connections we form through people-pleasing tend to be shallow and unfulfilling. Breaking free from this prison requires recognizing that our worth isn't dependent on how well we manage others' opinions of us. Here's where the conversation takes a revolutionary turn. The text reminds us that people can be of use to someone else simply by being alive and have a true sense of their worth just by being alive. This isn't just a feel-good sentiment, it's pointing to something profound about the nature of existence itself. Your value isn't something you earn through achievements, accumulate through good behavior, or maintain through others' approval. It's your birthright, woven into the very fabric of your being. This understanding shifts everything. Instead of constantly trying to prove our worth, we can begin to recognize and honor the worth that's already there. This aligns beautifully with spiritual teachings that point to our inherent wholeness. When we truly grasp this, the desperate need for external validation begins to dissolve. We can offer our gifts to the world not from a place of lack, but from the overflow of recognizing our own completeness. Self-acceptance often gets misunderstood as passive resignation, but it's actually the foundation for all genuine transformation. It begins with radical honesty about who we are right now, not who we think we should be, not who others want us to be, but who we actually are in this moment. This includes our past experiences, our current limitations, our patterns and tendencies that we can't simply will away. Rather than fighting against our fundamental nature or attempting to erase our history, self-acceptance invites us to embrace what cannot be altered while maintaining hope for what can be transformed. This isn't about giving up on growth, it's about creating a stable foundation from which healthy change can actually occur. When we stop rejecting parts of ourselves, we free up enormous amounts of energy that were previously spent in internal conflict. This energy can then be directed toward purposeful, sustainable growth. True empowerment emerges when we learn to distinguish between what we can and cannot control. So much of our suffering comes from trying to change things that are beyond our influence while neglecting the areas where we actually have power. We cannot control how others perceive us, what happened in our past, or many of the circumstances we find ourselves in, but we can control how we respond to these realities. By focusing our energy on the changeable aspects of ourselves, our thoughts, our choices, our responses, while accepting the unchangeable, we discover a path to genuine peace and purposeful action. This wisdom echoes the ancient teachings found in both Buddhist philosophy and modern psychological approaches. It's about finding the sweet spot between acceptance and effort, between surrendering to what is and taking responsibility for what can be different. The text offers us a beautiful definition of self-acceptance, the ability to accept this me just as it is while having the courage to change what one can change. This creates something remarkable, a foundation of unconditional self-love that makes healthy growth possible without the pressure of constant self-rejection. When we approach change from self-acceptance rather than self-improvement, the entire process becomes different. We're no longer trying to fix something broken, we're nurturing something whole. This shifts our relationship with growth from desperate striving to gentle cultivation. We can pursue development not because we're inadequate as we are, but because growth is a natural expression of life itself. From this place, change becomes sustainable and joyful rather than forced and painful. We discover that true transformation happens not by rejecting who we are, but by fully embracing ourselves and allowing that acceptance to naturally guide us toward our highest expression. If these insights resonate with you, consider sharing them with someone who might benefit from this reminder of their inherent worth and the freedom that comes with authentic living. May you find the courage to be genuinely yourself, and in that authenticity, discover the peace and joy that have been waiting for you all along.